Hello, it's Ken. Thank you for watching. Jesus Christ, when he came to the disciples in John chapter 6, Matthew chapter 14, he was walking on the water. And Peter also gets on the water and starts walking towards Christ, and he starts sinking. And he yells out, "Lord, save me." And the Bible is like water. It says in Ephesians 5, you're sanctified and cleansed with the washing of the water by the word. And the word is like water. This is like water. And the Lord comes to you on the water. And the guy, Peter, he's like sinking, and he says, "Lord, save me." I've known of other people in their lives that sounded off. They didn't understand salvation, and they wanted to be saved, and they were searching. And I've known of many people like that. One time I was in New Orleans, I was street preaching on a sidewalk, and I was going along the sidewalk. We took turns street preaching, and it wasn't my turn to preach. So I redeemed the time passing out literature on the sidewalk. And there was a crippled guy and his assistant on the sidewalk. And the crippled guy was basically a panhandler. And he was he didn't have any legs, and he was on like a kind of a board with wheels, and he had an assistant with them. And I witnessed to them. I made a little donation, and I witnessed to them. And the guy that was with them, I was talking about the blood atonement. And I didn't know it, but the guy that was with them was searching. He's already wanting to be saved. He just didn't understand it, And I explained it, and all of a sudden he he jumped. He like quivered. He shook, and he yelled out, "Is that how it works?" He goes, "Is that how it works?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's it. It's simple, isn't it?" And he got saved right on the spot. Another time I was in a nursing home, and I was preaching to a group of elderly people, and I had my drawing board up. I was preaching the gospel, doing the blood atonement, and right in the middle of the service, I got stopped. A lady yells out, "Is that how it works?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's how it works." And we led her to the Lord right on the spot, And I've seen that happen numerous times. One time I made a visit with a lady, and she was bedridden, and I actually set up my drawing board in her bedroom, and I preached the gospel. And she had the same response. She goes, "Is that how it works?" These were people that were already calling out. They wanted to be saved, but they just didn't understand. They didn't understand, and their heart was already prepared. And all of a sudden, faith cometh by hearing, and hearing by the word of God. Jesus Christ came to them by the water. He went to them by the water. And they were just like Peter. They're reaching out, "Lord, save me." These people that I'm talking about here, they wanted to be saved. They just didn't know how and didn't understand. And God got somebody to them. And that's kind of like the way God operates. He'll get a preacher to you. If you're really searching, you want the truth, and you want to be saved, usually God will get a preacher to you. He'll get somebody to you. And anyway, we're going to be talking about some typologies on Christ walking on water and how he went to the disciples and all that. We're going to be using some Bible maps, and hope it's a blessing to you. And we're going to transfer that at this time. All right, we're in John chapter 6, starting with verse 16. "And when even was now come, his disciples went down into the sea, and entered into a ship, and went over the sea towards Capernaum. And it was now dark, and Jesus was not come to them. And the sea arose by reason of a great wind that blew. And when they had rowed about 25, that's about 25, or 30 furlongs, they see Jesus walking on the sea, and drawing nigh unto the ship, and they were afraid. But he said unto them, It is I, be not afraid. Then they willingly received him into the ship, and immediately the ship was at the land whither they went." Now here's the disciples. They're in a boat, and they're crossing the Sea of Galilee, and the weather's kind of bad, the wind's blowing, and they see somebody walking on the water. It's Jesus Christ walking on the water to them. And he introduces himself to them, and they invite him in the boat. But what's interesting about this is it's between 25 and 30 furlongs where this occurs. And then also, once he gets in the boat, then it says there immediately the ship was at the land whither they went. Okay?
and they were en route to Capernaum. So they were actually en route to this area right here. But they were in the boat. They were in the boat, and they're traveling. And when Christ gets in the boat, immediately it's like transported supernaturally to the other side. It's a picture of the rapture. And what's in that boat is a picture of the church, kind of. Now, we'd like to take this another step and look at some longitudes from a global map. Okay? Now, right here is a global map. And this, we're going to expand this out. This is the 0 degree longitude line right here, right down the middle. Okay? Now, before the Philadelphia church, there were no lines like this. This 0 degrees longitude is known as the King's Date Line. The King James Version and the King's Royal Observatory in Greenwich, England, originates in the Philadelphia church, which runs about 1500 to 1833 in church history. The prime meridian, north-south 0 line, aligns on the observatory. So that observatory is in England, right there. That's where it's at. And the 0 line occurs, goes right through it. And this whole system of lines began in the Philadelphia church. In the Philadelphia church, there were great innovations, explorations, that kind of thing. And so if this 0 line, if you was to go east of the 0 line, you would see the 30 degree longitude right there. Now, what we want to do is take this 30 degree longitude and place it on a Bible map. Okay? So, let's take a look at it here. This is that same 30 degrees longitude right there, okay, that comes down through the globe. What's interesting is Jesus Christ met them between 25 and 30 furlongs. That's where he met them. And it just happens to turn out between 25 degrees longitude and 30 degrees longitude is the 7 churches. These are the 7 churches that are listed out in the book of Revelation. And they're also a picture of church history. You've got Laodicea, which is today. Then you got Philadelphia, which was before Laodicea. And by the way, Philadelphia was the only church in church history that Jesus Christ said kept his word. And so there's Sardis, Thyatira, and then Pergamos, Smyrna, Ephesus. And over here, this is an island off the coast. This is where John, the apostle, actually wrote the book of Revelation from this island. And anyway, it's a very interesting coincidence that Jesus Christ meets them. He meets them between 25 and 30 furlongs. Okay? And if you go 25 to 30 degrees longitude from the 0 line, it just happens to be where the 7 churches of Revelation are listed there. And then you know what happens at the end of the 7 churches? You have the rapture of the church. Revelation chapter 4 and verse 1 is the rapture of the church. That's where we go out. So that's some very interesting coincidences there with the furlongs and the longitude, that kind of thing. All right.
Those Bible charts and maps are just amazing. What I've gleaned from this in simplicity is that Christ will come to you on the water. And this book is the water. You're sanctified and cleansed with the washing of the water by the word. Faith cometh by hearing, and hearing by the word of God. The Lord will come to you by his water. And somebody that's sinking and reaching out, the Lord will take your hand. He'll come to you wherever you are. Faith cometh by hearing, and hearing by the word of God. Hope this presentation has been a blessing to you. Thank you very much for watching.